I enjoy Rumours as much as the next guy, but I feel like these past couple of weeks, we have had nothing but constant rumour after rumour, leak after leak of random stuff to the point where I'm struggling to keep up with it. Left and right, there's been things about Resident Evil 9. I've heard things about a Resident Evil 0 remake, Code Veronica, Resident Evil 5. I've heard there's a 30th anniversary remake of a remake. Like, this shit is... I don't know, it's too much at this point. So I'm going to round up what I've heard. Maybe yous have heard some other stuff, and yous can sound off in the comments and let me know if you've heard some random stuff about Resident Evil, but damn, man, it's really hard to stay on top of this stuff. So let's start with Resident Evil 9. What have we heard about Resident Evil 9? I've only heard a couple of things. I've heard it's set in Asia somewhere. It's set on an island. It's possibly open world, whatever the hell that means. I've heard that Leon's the main character again. And I've also heard that it might be coming out in January. We were supposed to we were supposed to get a trailer sometime this month during some PlayStation showcase, if that even happens. That hasn't even been confirmed, so who knows, right? But I've heard rumors about a January release, which, I mean, Resident Evil has released in January in the past. But I mean, I feel like a couple of weeks ago we heard about Resident Evil being delayed, like, internally. It wasn't something that was like, oh, it's got a release date, therefore it's been delayed. No, it was like this isn't hitting what we want it to be, let's pull it back a little bit. But now we're going ahead with this? Like, what is going on? So that rumor, to me, I struggle to understand it. And looking at it from Leon's standpoint, with him being the main character again, if that is even true in any way, shape or form, I'm perfectly okay with that. I'm not going to be mad at that. Leon, honestly, out the main four characters, Leon, Chris, Jill and Claire, I'm okay with either. You want to throw Barry in there, you know, I'm not even going to complain. Rebecca, whatnot. If Leon's the main character again, works for me, I guess. My only issue with that is, why not Jill? But if there's any truth to the rumor that Resident Evil 1 is getting remade again, Jill's got a game around the corner with Chris in that too. But then there's rumors about Code Veronica and Resident Evil 5 being in the works, which, again, Chris is in those games too, and you've got Claire there, so it's like Leon doesn't fit into this anywhere. So is that why Leon's supposedly the main character in Resident Evil 9? Hell, we don't even know if he's the only character in Resident Evil 9. Resident Evil games always put multiple characters in. But yeah, things are just getting out of hand with rumors where I just don't know what to believe anymore. I don't know who I'm supposed to be following and who's reliable and who's not, because I've heard so many mixed things, and I've heard some leakers have come out recently and said that they have said things in the past that turn out to be untrue, and I get it. Some leakers get told things, the source might not be the greatest, or hell, they might get told something that's so early in development they shouldn't really tell you, and then they tell you, and then it gets cancelled or changed in a major way to the point where then you start calling them a liar. I get it. I get how leaks work, and I like leaks as much as the next guy, but I think we need to cool it with the Resident Evil leaks at this point. I think there's too many on the table. Like the one I read the other day about Resident Evil 0, it's like, what? How have we jumped to Resident Evil 0 now? As far as I'm concerned, I'm all for Resident Evil 9, and when a remake comes, because it will happen again, I want it to be Code Veronica more than anything. I do. If the 30th anniversary is Resident Evil 1 remake again, I'm totally okay with that. I know some people are going to be really pissed off for that and be like, whoa, Resident Evil has already been remade once. We do not need it done again. I actually disagree. We've got it fixed camera angles with the original. Then we had a remake that did fixed camera angles to peak, I guess. It had the best graphics. It had great control. Not the best control. That goes to Resident Evil 3, where fixed camera angles are concerned. but it was pretty peak where it was just it was ticking all the boxes for fixed camera angle, but that's all it was, right? We've never had a different perspective version of Resident Evil, as long as you don't count on-rail shooters. Over the shoulder, hell, I'd even take first person. It's not preferable for me. I want over the shoulder, I want third person. Gimme Jill and Chris's first campaign in that kind of play style. The mansion, like, expanded on, give us more rooms and whatnot. Do some stuff with it, I guess. Make Lisa Trevor a stalker character. That works really well for me personally. I would eat that stuff up. I'm all on board with that. And I know a lot of people will complain and they'll buy it day one. That's just what we do as Resident Evil fans. It's just what happens. You'd be like, yeah, I don't even like the idea of this, and I'm still gonna get it because it's got Resident Evil on the box. And I'd be lying if I said I wasn't even gonna get that kind of thing. It's just the way it is with this fan base, and I'm definitely part of the problem. But Resident Evil 1 being remade again, absolutely, I'm all on board for that. Where's Code Veronica? I hear rumors that could be happening, but there's so many games in development. It's like, what the hell's going on at Capcom? If any of this is true, there's so much Resident Evil around the corner. It's insane, and I'm all for it, especially when we've had cancellations of great franchises and dev teams and whatnot. I need Resident Evil right now, so churn that shit out, Capcom, but please, quality control's important. Resident Evil 0, if that got remade, I heard rumors that it was supposed to be some kind of like test for online co-op with a Resident Evil game again before they do Resident Evil 5, because Resident Evil 0 is not exactly a fan favorite game. They want to test the market, see if it can get it to work very well in a horror setting, I'm guessing. And then they tackle Resident Evil 5. That seems so weird to me, because Resident Evil 0 sits in the same category as Code Veronica, in the sense that it's not a fan favorite Resident Evil game, so no one's demanding the remake, you know? The difference between these two games is Code Veronica is really important to Wesker's story. So if we're going to remake 1, we've got to remake Code Veronica, and then we've got to do 5, and then you're all caught up, right? You know exactly who Wesker is and what he's all about. And that's the right way to do it, really. You should do 1. And I just said I wanted Code Veronica first. It's just personal preference. You should do 1, you should do Veronica, you should do 5. That's exactly how it should be done. Capcom doesn't seem to do this in any order, and it doesn't really make sense. But if you do 0 as a test, I get it. But from a story standpoint, 0 is so weird, man. It really didn't need to exist with the way they did it. It does exist. Would I be all for a remake? Sure. Why the hell not? More Resident Evil the better, but it all depends on what they do with it, right? It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be good just because it's a remake of a game that was mediocre. It could still be mediocre. But these Resident Evil rumors, man, they're getting out of hand. I don't know which ones I want to believe. I feel like a Resident Evil announcement is around the corner. I feel like that's the only part of this stuff that I believe. I believe we will get some kind of Resident Evil announcement soon. Whether it releases in January or March next year, I don't know. I haven't got a clue. If somebody knows a good source for Resident Evil content, like someone they know is a leaker, they can be trusted, they don't make mistakes, you know, let me know down below, because sweet baby Jesus, I'm completely worn out of Resident Evil rumors. Alright people, that's all I got. Sound off down below, let me know what you think about these rumors, whether they're true or not, what you believe, what you don't believe, what you've heard, because I'm sure someone's heard something that I haven't even listed in this video. Let me know down below. Alright people, that's all I got. I'll catch you later.